Cancer has ripped me off of happiness and fulfillment, leaving me grappling with a reality I never thought I would face. I used to hear stories about cancer, tales of struggle and survival, but I never imagined I would become a part of that narrative until the day I found the lump in my armpit. It was a moment that shattered my world. A moment that marked the beginning of a battle I never wanted to fight. Before cancer, I was happily married to a wonderful man named Michael. Our life together was filled with laughter, love, and the simple joys of everyday life. He was attentive and intentional, always knowing how to brighten my day. I had a deep love for coffee, and if I hadn't had my morning fix, he would go out of his way to ensure I was set to conquer the day. No matter where I was or what time it was, he would show up with a steaming cup of coffee and a straw. A small gesture that meant the world to me. But as I stood in front of the mirror, feeling the lump that would change everything, I couldn't shake the feeling that my life was about to unravel. I knew cancer could be a death sentence, but what I never dreamed was that it would be my marriage that would become terminal. The world often portrays breast cancer as a battle fought with pink ribbons and brave smiles, with loving partners and family members rallying around the afflicted. But the truth is far more complex. Cancer is a thief. It steals your peace of mind, your sense of self, and your physical well-being. It creeps into the corners of your life, casting shadows over the brightest moments. And it has a way of revealing the cracks in relationships that you never knew existed. After my diagnosis, I sought solace in a breast cancer support group. The women there were generous, kind, and supportive. But as I listened to their stories, it became painfully clear that many of their husbands were struggling to cope. One by one, they shared their anguish, detailing how their partners were overwhelmed by the burden of caregiving. Husbands complained about having to manage the household, while their wives were bedridden or vomiting from chemotherapy. Others refused to take time off work, downplaying the seriousness of their wives' diagnoses. Some even pressured their very ill partners for intimacy, while others sulked, mourning the loss of the vibrant woman they had married. And then there were those who simply announced they wanted a divorce, leaving their partners to navigate the storm alone. My husband, Michael, initially coped with my cancer treatment by pretending that nothing had changed in his life. He continued to work long hours, taking just 2 days off during my year of treatment. He helped care for our kids, whisking them away to Disneyland while I sat at home, feeling like a ghost in my own life. My body was crumbling, my mental health deteriorating, and while he never voiced his complaints, I could feel the weight of my illness pressing down on him. I was becoming the inconvenient elephant in the room of his otherwise unchanged life. By the time I reached remission, I was a shell of my former self. Exhausted, depressed, and broken, I had developed an excruciating shoulder condition that left me unable to use my left arm for months. The constant agony was a cruel reminder of my battle, and I was told that the painful swelling in my abdomen was a permanent side effect of the treatments. I was so deeply depressed that I had suicidal thoughts, and some days, getting out of bed felt like an insurmountable challenge. It was during this dark period that Michael dropped the bombshell. He wanted a divorce. His reasons were as cold as they were hurtful. I was an angry person, and I was too high maintenance. He claimed we were incompatible because I had no energy and spent too much time in bed, while he thrived on busyness and activity. In a whirlwind of emotions, I went from being a financially secure woman with a loving husband and children to losing it all. My now ex-husband moved me into a rental apartment, leaving me to navigate the aftermath of my illness alone, while he continued his life in the home we had built together. He frequently told me, without a hint of empathy, that I needed to move on with my life, as if my pain and suffering were mere inconveniences to be brushed aside. Cancer is a thief, but in its wake, it can also be a gift. Through the fight of my life, I gained clarity about what truly matters. I realized that the man I thought I loved was not the partner I needed. He was not willing to take a few days off work to hold my hand while I cried, or to sit with me in those waiting rooms, where the weight of uncertainty felt suffocating. He left me alone mid-treatment, taking our kids on vacation to Disneyland, claiming he was giving me a break, when in reality, he was dodging the uncomfortable truths that real relationships must confront. Heartbroken and disillusioned, I found myself at a crossroads. I could either let this betrayal define me, or rise from the ashes of my shattered life. It was a painful realization, but I slowly began to understand that there were countless others who truly cared for me, who were willing to show up when it mattered most. Friends, family, colleagues, and even neighbors rallied around me, offering their support in ways I had never anticipated. They never labeled me as toxic or high maintenance. Instead, they took time off work to accompany me to appointments, to sit with me during treatments, and to simply be present in my life when I felt utterly alone. I remember one particular day when a dear friend, Sarah, showed up at my door with a homemade lasagna and a bouquet of flowers. She didn't come with platitudes or empty reassurances. She simply sat with me, sharing stories and laughter, reminding me of the joy that still existed in the world. In that moment, I felt a flicker of hope. I realized that while cancer had taken so much from me, it had also illuminated the true nature of love and support. As I navigated the complexities of my new reality, I began to rebuild my life, piece by piece. I sought therapy to help me process the trauma of my illness and the heartbreak of my marriage. I learned to embrace my vulnerability, to allow myself to feel the full spectrum of emotions, grief, anger, sadness, and even joy. I discovered that it was okay to not be okay, that healing was not a linear path, but a winding journey filled with ups and downs. I also found strength in my newfound community. I became an advocate for breast cancer awareness, sharing my story to help others understand the emotional toll of the disease. I connected with other survivors, and together we formed a support network that empowered us to face our fears and celebrate our victories. I learned that while cancer had tried to steal my life, it had also gifted me with resilience and a deeper understanding of what it means to truly live. As I stood on the precipice of my new life, I began to rediscover my passions. I took up painting, pouring my emotions onto the canvas in vibrant colors. I started writing, documenting my journey, and the lessons I had learned along the way. I found solace in nature, taking long walks to clear my mind and reconnect with the world around me. Each step I took was a reminder that I was still here, still fighting, and still capable of finding joy amidst the chaos. In time, I learned to redefine my identity. I was no longer just a cancer survivor. I was a woman who had faced unimaginable challenges and emerged stronger on the other side. I embraced my scars, both physical and emotional, as symbols of my resilience. I learned to love myself fiercely, to prioritize my well-being, and to surround myself with people who uplifted me rather than weighed me down. As I reflect on my journey, I realize that cancer may have stolen so much from me, but it also opened my eyes to the beauty of life and the power of human connection. I learned that true love is not just about the good times. It's about standing by each other in the darkest moments, holding hands through the storms, and finding light even when it feels impossible. Today, I stand tall, not just as a survivor, but as a woman who has reclaimed her life. I have learned to embrace the uncertainty of the future, knowing that I am capable of facing whatever comes my way. I have surrounded myself with a tribe of people who love me for who I am, not for who I used to be. And while cancer may have taken much, it has also given me the gift of clarity, strength, and an unwavering belief in my own resilience. In the end, I have come to understand that life is a precious gift, one that I will cherish every single day. I will continue to fight for my health, for my happiness, and for the relationships that truly matter. Cancer may have tried to steal my joy, but it has only fueled my determination to live fully and authentically, embracing every moment with gratitude and grace.